What up? What up? This is Chappy here at Roll Call again, and I have an extremely special guest here with me today. You guys all know the story from my parents last week, and I brought the person that was the other topic of the conversation here today. So my little brother, Matt Meyerhoff. Say what up, Matt.
What's up, what's up?
Name is Pancake from his flat nose, so that's another nickname. I'm Chappy, and this is Pancake here.
Yep, that was a great nickname growing up.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of share our life story and our relationship. Give a little bit of how we grew up together.
I mean, we pretty much were inseparable growing up. I mean, from playing sports, fighting every single day. I always tell the story that, literally every single day I woke up, I was like, today's the day I'm going to beat my brother up. And
It's like me with golf now.
yeah, he says he's going to beat me in golf one day, but we haven't gotten there yet, and I still haven't beat him up yet. But
which one would happen first?
yeah, probably golf. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty much inseparable. We were always best friends, but we were always fighting too. We fought more than anyone, but I think at the same time we were always closer than anyone. We went through a lot of stuff together, and we were always there for each other. We always had each other's back through everything. And, and from being little to now, I don't like loyalty with us I've just never seen it with any other brothers or family, and it's funny because we still fight like crazy, but the loyalty, that never leaves, like we're there with each other for anything through anything. Like we fight like chicks, but at the end of the day, we always make up and we're always there for each other.
And just to show that it never goes away, I was going to have you in my studio last week and didn't because we were still beefing a little bit last week. So
we're always beefing, dude.
We squashed the beef. Now they only last a few days because we're both a little bit more mature now. But these next ones I want to talk about, I don't even know this because I kind of like shielded it and definitely didn't want to hear about it before. But I think it's really important. So how was it watching your older brother that I know you did look up to me a lot, like go down the path I went down when I started getting into the drugs and stuff?
It sucked. It was just, it was weird, like looking back on it. I would have done so many different things, but I was just too young, like now, I would, all those dudes you were hanging out with, I'd just take care of all of them, but at the time I was just a little 8th grader, a little freshman, and they were all like big, tough dudes to me, but watching you go down it, I was almost too young to even realize, like, I didn't realize how bad, smoking meth was and robbing people. Like, I never would have thought ever that it would have led to a 12-year prison sentence, it was crazy, man. It sucked, but, I always thought you were going to figure it out, all the rehab stints and everything. I just felt like this next time he's going to get it. This next time he's going to get it, We never gave up on you, and I think the long prison sentence was honestly the thing you needed.
Yeah, and I needed a full 12 years too. I think back now, we thought I was going to get 4 years in prison, and just knowing the person I am, 4 years wouldn't have been enough for me to get it,
Yeah, for sure.
And I asked Dad about this that I didn't even know about too. So after the sentencing, clearly I know how hard it was. I remember our first phone calls. It was tough to even get words in. We were just crying the whole time. And all I remember is you saying is that you were going to visit me every weekend. And then Dad said that he found you in the bathroom, like curled up in a ball, like in the fetal position, crying.
Yeah.
And can you tell me how the rest of that day went? Although it's going to be hard for me to hear even too. I want to know like what you thought. We thought I was going to get 4 years in prison, and then your brother, they triple his sentence.
Yeah, I mean, it was, besides... family members dying and stuff, that was by far the worst day of my life. Like, we went there and, we kind of pregame, we're talking, like big game, hopefully he gets, 4 years. I think maybe 3.5 was possibly in play, but all we wanted was like not to get 6. Hope he doesn't get 6. And then they were reading your sentence, and I just remember them reading it and they kept adding stuff on. Like the first one was like 2.5 years for this, and I was like, is he getting 2.5? And then they're like, and then a year for this, and then a year for this, and then 7 years for this, and then like by the end of it they were like 12 years. And I remember just like almost like wanting to collapse, bro. And I remember just crying my face off, and all of us were just crying. I remember just looking at you, and you were just like, I'll be all right. Like, you just look back. You're like, don't cry. Like, I'll be all right. I'll get through this shit. And I was like, it was just the worst, bro. We all went back in the car, and, we were just crying just forever. Then we went back to my dad's house, and I just broke down, dude. And it was just the worst, man. And it was just like, I was like, he'll never get out of there, And then I remember he was like, my dad was like, yeah, all right, I got to get out of here. I got to go to work. And I'm just like, dude, you can't leave me like this today. Like, I was just crying and crying. And then, I don't know, it's from that to visiting you the first time when they let me go in Tucson. And I saw you a couple weeks later in Tucson. And then, like, when we had that visit and then leaving that visit, and we go get in that truck, and I'm just like, fuck, like 12 years of this shit, like there's no way. Like,
and you're probably already worried too, because I remember that's how quick you get wrapped up in the shit in prison. By the time you came to visit me, I already had my head big shaved bald, and
yeah,
had already whooped the dude running my building, and it was like literally within a few months I was already trying to, like, I learned that fighting gets you some attention in there, and thank God we know how to fight. So
yeah,
I always knew that you guys were worried about that too. I remember Dad's the first thing he said, he goes, "What the fuck did you do to your hair?"
yeah.
And I was like, I got in a fight, Dad. And the dude was pulling my hair, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
What are you going to do, not fighting here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and tell me now about the prison stuff, because you were damned the entire time down with me. And clearly I was more honest with you than Mom and Dad and everybody. Mm-hmm. But I didn't tell you guys a ton of stuff because I didn't want you guys to worry too much about me. I try to just always say, I'm doing all right. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. 9 years left, 8 years left, 7 years left. And I still remember this one visit when I had just came out there, because when you'd come out there to visit, you guys would be waiting in the visitation room, and then I would come out afterwards. They'd call me from my cell or whatever it may be. And I remember one visit you came out there, and you were like, asked me, who the fuck are you? And I was like, what do you mean, who am I? And you're like, don't fucking lie to me. And like, what are you doing in here? Because like people were saving you seats, and dudes were getting you drinks, and like people were like kissing your ass in there too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
People didn't do this to me before, so they don't just do this if you're not anybody. And I kind of told you, like, don't ask too many questions, but I'm full on in the politics in here, and it's like, it's that or be a fucking lame, and mm-hmm. I told you I didn't have it in me to be a lame, and so that's just another worry you guys had to worry about. How much did you worry about that with me catching more time doing something stupid?
Oh, the whole time. I mean, literally the whole time. Like, it's crazy, when I was coming on this podcast, I was just thinking of stories and stuff, and it's funny now, like, going to sleep with no worries, but like for 12 fucking years, dude, I would just lay in bed every night and just think of you, Not like what we're going to do when you get out and stuff like that, but just like, just scared, like I hope nothing happens. I was always scared of you getting more time, because definitely throughout the years as I saw you, like your rank get higher and higher in there, and, once you started running yards and shit, I was like, fuck, dude, like I didn't think you were getting out for sure, I was like, he's going to catch cases and shit. And then, but like starting off, I always remember when you were in Manzanita, the first prison I visited you at in Tucson, and there was, do you remember Chucky?
Yeah, of course.
Chucky just...
another one dead now, too. All my friends in there are either dead or back in prison.
Just like a huge, like, OG, like one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen. And he just, like, came up to me, and he was just like, dude, I've heard so much good stuff about you. He's like, your brother's a G, man. Like, we watch out for each other, and he's a monster. And like saying just that you were like a really solid dude in there. And I'm like, you were like 180 pounds, like the skinny white kid from Ahwatukee. And this is like the biggest dude I've ever seen in my life. And he's just like,
he would tower over me now.
Yeah, he was like in love with you. And I remember he like kicked this, like there was like this other skinny white boy, and he like kind of made them move their seats so we could like sit next to his family. And I was like, dude, what is he doing in here, And then that was kind of when I knew, like, you were handling your shit in there.
And you know what's crazy? I loved it at first. Like, when the cops, I remember when I would see these OGs pull up on the yard, and before they'd pull up on the yard, they would have to have meetings with the wardens and the SSU staff. When the SSU was, like, the detectives in prison.
Yeah.
And they would literally tell them, like, they would freak out when these, like, so-and-so hit the yard. And I remember that's what I shot for. I seriously wanted cops to be scared when I hit the yard.
Yeah.
And that's how fucked up my head was, So, like, the 12 years prison sentence is one thing, but, like, the shit that happens in there is 100 times worse than even the sentence, Mm-hmm. And instead of like aspiring to like do something and get out of prison, like I aspired to have all the cops scared of me in there. And I always had to overcompensate because I was from Ahwatukee. And for those of you that don't know, it's a real nice suburb in Phoenix. And most of the people from prison are not in there. I think there's only a couple dudes from Ahwatukee even go to prison.
Yeah, they call it all white Tukey.
Yeah, that's the nickname. That's what they told me, that all white Tukey, and I had long blonde hair, so I always had to overcompensate. And I wanted to feel like I was fucked up like the rest of the people in there, like you hear their childhood and how they grew up, and I'd be like, dude, of course you're in prison.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, how the fuck did I go to prison living how I lived when these dudes grew up like this, and then we're in the same place together. I'm like living there, and I always tell people I didn't go to prison. I was like raised in prison, I spent almost half my life in there, Towards the end of my sentence, I feel like it never got easier. We always talked about the year and a half. It said like I had a year and a half left for years.
Yeah, I say you had 3 years left for 3 years. Like, it was insane. Like, all the good time just went away, and it was like, it was from 12 years, I might have to do 9. Then it was like, I think I got to do 10, and then 11. It's like, yeah, I got to do the full 12 years.
Yeah, and that was because of me just causing trouble in there, just getting tickets, and then they add all that time back before you're supposed to get out. So my last about 8 or 9 months, I was finally in the hole. Cops are just done fucking with me. They knew I was getting out, and I was trying to get out, and they literally told me to my cell door, like, you go home in so-and-so 8 months. We're done with you. You're going to sit in the hole till you go home. Were you happy, honestly?
Yeah, I was happy, but, like, you weren't in, like, a good spot, I felt like, like, I couldn't talk to you. Like, I couldn't visit you. I think you had lost your visits, and
that was the best thing that ever happened to me in prison, seriously, was going to the hole before I got out. Because before that happened, the end of my sentence, I always say I was a year to the gate, and I was in the worst spot mentally that I'd ever been in those 12 years.
Yeah. See, that was like the roughest. I mean, skipping all the prison years, like towards the end when you were still fucking up all the time, getting tickets and losing visits.
I was strung out with a year left.
I was going to say just doing drugs and shit. Like, it was just like, fuck, he's never going to figure this out.
And I thought that too. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I cried in my cell, high as fuck, or if I was dope sick or one of the two, and I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Am I ever going to figure this out? Like, why do I have this life? And I felt like fucking like, what did I do to deserve this shitty-ass life I have,
Yeah. I would get out and I would tell everyone, yeah, he's doing great. I can't wait to get out. But I was just fucking lying to everyone. And I'm just like, I just kind of put it on myself. Like, once he gets out, I'm going to watch him. I'm not going to let him do anything.
I remember you told me that. You're like, when you get out, I got you. Like, don't even worry. I'm going to, like, make sure you do this, and that thing. And I was just like, whatever you say, just get me out of here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the release. I want to do some brighter moment now. So, and I want to hear this, too. The night before I'm getting out of prison, what are your thoughts? Finally, after 11 years and 7 months straight, I was locked up at 18 years old. Now I'm 30 years old and I'm getting out of prison.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, just didn't sleep at all. A bunch of family was coming in, so they were all flying in, and you were coming into my house, so it was, I was setting up the room and shit, and it was just like, it was cool, It was like, I remember hanging your TV on the wall, and it was like, had this badass flat screen TV. I'm like, he's going to lose his mind because he had a 13-inch TV for 12 years, you know. And
you guys bought me all those sick-ass extra-large clothes that didn't fit me at all.
Yeah.
I got out of prison 254.
I remember I was asking him, I was like, what size are you? He's like, either 2X or 3X. And I'm like, dude, extra large is fine. Like, I got them all like XL, like size 34 clothes.
My legs are 34.
We brought like 4 outfits to pick him up, and he had to he was like ripping them, putting them on. But going up there was unreal, dude. I mean, we had all the families in town, so we picked like our top 6 crew, and we were just driving up there, and we were just waiting, and we're just talking like, no fucking way. Like, what's he going to do? What's he going to want to do? And it was funny because it was almost like a little awkward once we got you, because like we didn't know what to do, It was like, and I remember there was like some drama right when you got out because we called the guards, and we were like, we were going to come down there at like 4 a.m. and just be the first ones in line and wait. And we called, and they're like, gates don't even open till 6, so you can't come up that early. They're like, you just got to come at 6. And then I think we left then, and then you like called all angry. You're like, I'm the only one not picked up yet.
I got released with like 6 people, and they were all like gangbangers and stuff, and all their families were there, and they're like, everybody's here except Meyerhoff. And I'm like, that's a mistake. My family's for sure fucking here.
Yeah, I remember we picked you up, and we borrowed my homie Chad's Tahoe, and you like thought it was your car. You're like, did Dad buy you this? Dad buy me this? I'm like, no, you got the purple truck at home. But
Yeah, he gave his old purple truck. Yeah.
yeah, but no, that was just sick. I mean, when you jumped out the van, and I'll never forget when that door opened, man. And I was the first one to give you a hug, and we were just crying, man, and just like.
I still to this day cannot get through that video without crying, like bawling, crying.
Oh no, I watch it all the time too, and it's just like, it was just crazy. Like, you fucking made it. It was like, I was so proud of you. Like, I just never thought you were gonna make it, and you just made it. And I was like,
The day before I got out, I honestly didn't think I was going to get out.
yeah,
Like, I seriously, like, the thought of getting out for me was just like, after they kept pushing my dates back, and I'm like, I'm getting out, but I'm like, I'm not really getting out. Like, I honestly, I can't describe it to you, like, because I was just raised in there. And, like, I seriously, like, grew up in there, and
Yeah.
I felt like I was never going to get out. And I felt like I didn't deserve to get out. You know, if I'm fucking strung out on heroin and stuff for the year to the game after 12 years, like, who the fuck couldn't sober up for that, you know? But that's how powerful the addiction is, you know? And
Yeah.
I had nothing to behave for, you know? Like, hypothetically, I was getting out in a year, but I didn't think I was, you know?
Yeah.
I thought for sure I was going to catch more time or do something stupid too, you know? And I was still, like, as deep in the politics as it gets, like, up until I got out, you know?
Yeah.
And that was scary too, because I got out from the most gangster yard in the entire state too, and I was just like, with my luck, some shit's gonna happen right before I go home, and I'm gonna ruin all this shit, you know?
yeah. I think it probably would have if you weren't in the hole.
I swear to God, I think that whole saved my life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some cool stuff. I'm out, we're chilling. I walk in your house, I see that flat screen TV on the wall, and I lose it. That's when I started just bawling. And I remember telling you, the TVs are that fucking big out here.
Yeah. I remember it was like, there wasn't much, or before you get to the house though, I remember we get in the car, we get on the freeway, and we're driving, and I think you like asked for a song or something, and we're like let's turn the radio on, and it's Tom Petty, Free Fallin', and we just fucking blared it, and we're just like, how is this song on right now? And I was just like, I don't even know what I believe in, but that was one of those times where it's like, this has to be for something. And I mean, we were all just crying, man. And
That was a song that always got to me, no matter what in prison. Like, if I was strung out on drugs, or if I was actually like doing it in a good stent, my prison sentence or something, no matter what, if I heard that Tom Petty Free Fallin' song, it would fucking just make me cry. And I told everybody in prison the whole time I was in there, I was like, when I get out, I'm listening to this Free Fallin' song on the ride home, just on repeat.
yeah,
And we go to that freeway and Free Fallin' comes on.
yeah,
And I'm like, you're kidding me, you know?
I know.
And, you know, we're not really religious. I just found God myself a few weeks ago, and I'm not even going to touch that avenue, but there was something special that day, you know?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
And I felt like I finally deserved to start catching some breaks. So,
And we go to the gas station, and you're like a kid in a candy shop. You just had all these candy bars and stuff, and I think you spent like $45 there or something.
yeah, something like it. It was candy bars and energy drinks.
Yeah, and then
Because I never even had an energy drink.
got back to the house, and all family and friends were there, and you know, everyone just hugging you and stuff, and not many tears. And then we went inside, and I remember you seeing the TV. You broke down, and then I showed you my room and my dogs. It was just crazy, like dogs, you know, like you never met my dogs, and I had had my dog for fucking 10 years, and then they just like jumped on you on my bed. And I remember you just crying, and
I'm a dog fanatic.
yeah, and we were just crying about meeting my dogs.
I used to sit in prison, like, miss dogs. Like, I mean, I'm an animal person. I'm the only person in the family that doesn't hunt.
I know. I remember because I would send you pictures all the time.
And I would ask for that. I have a whole section.
Yeah.
I had a whole separate section of all my pictures just with animals, and I would love just flipping through those.
I remember sending you some one time. Like, you didn't send me any of your dog, Tiger. And I was like, who cares about
Big
Tiger?
killer running a 4-yard, like the most gangster yard in his state, and I'm just like bitching because you didn't send me pictures of your dog.
Yeah,
but that was the type
funny.
of person I was, and that's how I was. I was out of place in prison,
Yeah.
And luckily we have an actor figure shit out, and
Yeah.
so I know it was pretty hard on your marriage, obviously at first, because we wanted to be inseparable, and I feel like even when we grew up, we were like clearly as close as it gets, but we always fought, and now we're like grown-ups adults, so we can like have that relationship and not fight.
Yeah.
And we were inseparable at first.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think we fought for the first 9 months or something.
No, yeah, no fights at all. We were just partying.
Yeah, I left you and April fight over me hanging out with you too much,
Oh,
probably.
dude. I mean, she wasn't even complaining at first, and then it was like,
Too much.
and then it was like every day I just wanted to do this. I remember I was like, I have an online eBay business, and I always look back at those months, and I made like the least money I'd ever made in my life because I was just We were just partying, you know?
Yeah, I remember I was actually that one time on the golf course. I was like, so how's your work going or something like that? You're like, since you got out shit, like I haven't made anything.
Yeah, seriously. I was just spending everything too.
And then so we got into we had a lot of fun drinking and stuff. And I was 30 years old and I got out. I'd never been to a bar. A lot of people know that.
Yeah.
And I felt entitled to do that, and my thing with the alcohol, I'm not one of those everyday drinkers. I'm not a closet drinker. I like to party though. And when I party and black out, I say yes to anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this I've definitely never heard, but let's fast forward a little bit to the day of my overdose.
Yeah.
Because I always share, I was at a bar just partying in the afternoon. It was somebody's birthday, I remember. I don't even remember leaving the bar. I woke up in the ambulance on the way there, and the paramedics told me I'd overdosed and almost died. And then I was like kind of in and out of consciousness. And this is a year out of prison. And then the next thing I remember is you on the hallway in the hospital on the phone with Dad. Mm-hmm. And I'm 31 years old now, almost just killed myself after I got done completing almost an impossible task of 12 years in prison.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about you telling my dad that I did drugs again and overdosed.
Yeah. He was the one that called me, and I remember I was at home, and I remember he called, and I'm gonna cry, but
It's all good.
I remember fucking him calling, and he was just like, where are you? And I was like, I'm at home, and I could just tell. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, it's your brother. And I was just like, I remember just yelling. I was like, is he alive? He was like, he overdosed. And I was like, is he alive? Is he effing alive? And he's like, he's alive, but he's not doing good. And I was like, I remember just like, I thought you were dead, dude. And I just like broke down in the garage. I was just like laying in the garage, and I was just like, fuck. And then I was like, where is he? And I said, your April came out, I was crying. That's my wife. And, she was like, what happened? And then I just, we jumped in the car and rushed over to the hospital. And you were just laying there in, your own room, and you're all fucked up and you're puking and stuff. And
I said, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, and I was talking, you kept asking for a bag and you were puking. And the doctor was like, you know how lucky he is to be alive? Like, we found him, his heart was beating like 6-7 times a minute. I was like, and it was so crazy because like we were drinking our faces off, and I just never would have thought you would have went back to drugs. I was almost like, I don't even care how much he drinks,
And that's how I thought. I thought as long as I'm drinking, I'm cool.
Yeah, because I was like, no one ever fucked with you at a bar because you were so goddamn big. Like,
it's only when the dudes that are 5'4" get blacked out. Like, it'd be comical when somebody, like a couple times dudes tried to mess with me, and they would literally like not even be up to my shoulders, and I would be like, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah. I remember like telling Dad, he was like, he's gonna get in a fight. I'm like, seriously, it's not like me. Like, everyone wants to fight me at the bar.
Look at the difference in
I'm
us.
like, nobody wants to fight him. I'm like, if you're drunk, would you want to fight him? And we were just like laughing about it, but it was how it was, dude. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then
that's funny too, because Greg even asked when you got here. You come walking up like dressed like a little preppy. You always look good, wearing a Scotty Cameron polo and shit, and you do your hair. I wear a hat every day. And he's like, "This is your brother," and I was like, "That's what I would have looked like if I didn't go to prison too."
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, it was the overdose sucked, man.
In all seriousness, after the overdose, I go out and try and get sober. Go out to South Dakota, just try to like game plan with Dad on what the fuck I was gonna do with my life, and go sell cars. But I want your honest opinion. What did you think the chances are of me figuring this shit out that time, or were you ready to give up on me ever? Or?
Never give up on you. I mean, I'm here forever, but I definitely didn't believe in you to get sober. And I remember the most mad I ever got at you with the sobriety shit was we all went out to South Dakota, and I did a boys golfing trip. I was there with like 10 of my best friends, and you were there, and this was right after your thing, and you were sober. So we were partying the whole time there, drinking, and you didn't touch a beer, nothing, and you were just good. And I was like, fuck, maybe he did figure it out. And then we flew back from South Dakota, and right when we landed, me and my buddy Chad were like going to Sandbar. It's our bar to party at back in the day. And I showed up at the bar straight from the airport, and you were already there drinking. And I was just like, it was all a fucking scam. Like, he'll never, I was so mad. But then, you know, I don't even know what the final straw was with that. You just like, I remember you just figured it out like after my birthday one day.
I remember thinking that when my funeral would have been like around your birthday weekend, like for the rest of your life. And I remember thinking like, I honestly I don't even think I did it for myself at that point. I was just like, dude, figure this shit out for your fucking brother and your mom and dad and stuff. You know what I mean? And, when I went and sold cars, and luckily I started making some money real quick, you know?
Yeah.
And then, did you still have faith in me, honestly, at that time? Or were you still like just kind of holding your breath, like, whatever, we'll see how long this lasts?
Yeah, once you started making money selling cars, it was like, and it's funny because I talked you into doing that for like 2 years. I was like, our buddy Chad, who, you know, was kind of the same position we were all in, you know.
He was one of our co-defendants.
Yeah, felonies and shit. And, you know, he was just making money selling cars and stuff. And I'm like, God, I always told you to go do it. I'm like, you'll make so much money. And then you finally did like 2 years later. And then, and once you started making money, I saw you like kind of turn your addiction
to money.
To money. And I don't know anyone who loves money more than you.
Seriously.
And, but yeah, I mean, I think that was what really changed your life. And
I always fly by the seat of my pants. So I made some good money. I was in the car business for 5 years. Bought a couple houses. Both houses I bought, people said I was crazy for buying it. It was too big. And, you know, I was I think 2.5, 3 years out of prison. And my first house I buy is a $500,000 custom home.
Yeah.
You know? And that's probably from overcompensating from growing up poor and all of our friends having money and they had everything they wanted. I still think I deal with that a lot on a daily basis, which is why I still have to always wear name brand clothes and everything. Mm-hmm. But I had a couple things, and I finally got sober and started like catching some breaks in life, it felt like, you know. And then I want you to be honest about this, because when I had asked you, and I know you were just being nice and giving me the brotherly answer, but when I was having the best year of my life this year and I told you that I was just done with the car business, I wanted to go do something different, I'm thinking the whole time, and I knew that day that I didn't die, that I was saved for a much bigger purpose. Mm-hmm. And it's to do this and help people and save lives. And I wasn't even worried about the money anymore. And that's all I wanted was money. And then once I had money, it didn't do anything for me, you know?
Yeah.
Money makes it easier to help people, but it clearly doesn't make you happy. And I can tell you that firsthand. What were your thoughts when I told you that I wanted to quit the car business? And I was a finance manager at that time. So I had my own office for 4 years, not my own schedule, but like I had, if I needed a weekend off that month, I could take that weekend off. And
I think you were coming off your best month you had ever had.
April was the best month of my entire life by far.
I mean, I thought you were really stupid, to be honest. You know, I was like, what are you doing? Like, let's think about this more, you know. And I was talking to Dad. I'm like, Dad, you got to tell him. You got to talk to him.
He tried.
He's not listening to me, you know. The Dad's saying the same thing. He's like, he's not listening to me either. And, yeah, I mean, you know, I thought it was dumb, you know, but at the same time, like, I know you're going to be successful doing whatever the fuck you want, you know. Whatever you decide, like, literally anything, like, you're just going to grind until it happens, you know. And if one thing doesn't work out, you'll find another thing.
That's one thing that prison taught me, which is hustle, you know. And anybody in prison can benefit from that, too. Like, when you don't have too many options, you, like, acquire a great knack to just figure shit out. And that's what I do. I always say that's my greatest attribute is, you could throw me somewhere and I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, I have no clue. And that's, to this day, it's one of my greatest attributes, I feel like.
Yeah. I think Dad just installed that, like, something in us with, you know, we'll talk to fucking anyone. We're not, you know, afraid to approach people. And, I mean, you're even way worse than me, you know, but, like.
I'm the networking king. You guys used to make fun of me for getting dudes' phone numbers at the gym when I got out.
Yeah.
How'd that turn out for me now?
Yeah, I know. And I was like... Yeah, we both just had this hustle thing that, like, Dad taught us, you know, like, just make money, you know. Like, I haven't had a boss for, I don't even know, since I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I was like.
Do you know how many questions I get on a daily basis? What the fuck does your brother do? Yeah. And you know what I say? I'm like, he's just a hustler, man. He just figures it out. He just makes money here, makes money there, plays a little poker, does this and that, has his eBay store. And yeah, it's crazy, you know, but we are blessed with that. Mm-hmm. So life's pretty good now. You know, this is going to save some lives. Hopefully, that's my main mission here. You know, I had enough, and I just realized after making that money, and I just wanted to walk away and just do something that served a bigger purpose. I thought I wanted all the money, and I had the money, and then I was miserable. So I went on this venture now, and I can't tell you on a daily basis how like just satisfying and fulfilling my life feels like right now,
Yeah.
And I, from the bottom of my heart, like if you would have given up on me, I would have never been here, Clearly mom and dad are one thing, but like me and you, our bond is special,
Yeah.
And I don't even know what to say. I just want to, like, in front of everybody, thank you for everything you did for me. If it wasn't for you, not only would I not have anything I have, I'd be dead, I would have never made it out of prison. There's certain times that, like, you were the only person I could talk to, because you can't talk to dudes in prison.
Yeah.
I couldn't be real with mom and dad because all they're going to do is worry and lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
And I knew you did, but I knew you could handle shit better, and I'm just excited for the future for the first time in my life now.
Yeah. And, I did that because I know you would have done the exact same if, she was on the other foot. And, we've always been there for each other. So, we always will.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming here today. Can't tell you how highly I think of you, and just excited for the future for us.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, bro. I can't wait to see what you do. And the sky's the limit for you, man. You got more drive than anyone I've ever met, and I don't see any stopping anytime soon. So I love you, brother.
Love you.